weather. It governs our world, bringing life, death, and destruction.
God damn it, go back.
We're fine.
Oh my God! It's drowning!
Wow. World's deadliest weather is back. Bigger and badder. This time we include deadly natural disasters.
One of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Featuring earth-shattering quakes.
Yo ahí vi pasar toda mi vida. O sea, yo pensé que ya no la iba a lograr.
I saw an entire building collapse.
It was like something out of a movie.
And volcanoes.
It looks like all of my wildest dreams.
Using people's extraordinary self-shot footage.
We're gonna die, dude! We gotta get out of here! Mason, get away from the windows now!
And their death-defying stories.
I remember instantly thinking, I just watched her die.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick.
I thought I was gonna burn alive.
We go eyeball to eyeball with Mother Nature.
It's crazy! It's crazy! Come on!
And witness up close
Get on there!
the all-consuming power of the elements.
The mountain was coming to get us.
Flash right there! This place is just hell.
It was just horrific.
I had never in my life experienced anything like that.
Everybody take cover!
Now! Coming up on this episode.
God damn.
Wildfires rage across California, reducing towns to smoldering rubble.
The fire, it's overwhelming.
Fire trucks everywhere, police, chaos, bro.
Everything's gone. I don't recognize that place.
The world's largest bike rally comes under attack from supersized hail.
Oh, how did there get bigger?
I have never seen hail that big before. I was afraid for our lives.
Oh my God.
And rough seas capsize a boatload of terrified tourists.
I think there were definitely some very, very scared people. The boat sank in the middle of nowhere.
It's autumn 2017 in Northern California. John B. Buencamina was enjoying a family weekend in Santa Rosa, a small community just north of San Francisco. Uppermost in his mind was taking his electric skateboard out for a spin.
Our family decided to hold a family barbecue at my grandma's house, which is also the house that I grew up in.
All right, let's ride safely this time.
Do a shaper? When I was a little kid, outside of our home in Santa Rosa, we would, ride our skateboards around. My brother and I thought, hey, what better opportunity to ride around our childhood neighborhood? You don't get to ride them together very often. We were just reminiscing on, hey, this is where we used to play hide and seek. Everyone is aware of, the potential for fire, but there was no indication before it actually happened.
On the 8th of October 2017, the Tubbs Fire exploded across 36,000 acres of prime Californian land. Powering it was a combination of drought-dry vegetation and strong winds, gusting up to 40 miles per hour.
I mean, you saw fire trucks everywhere, you saw police officers everywhere, firemen. There was a lot of chaos going on. I mean, I was worried about my entire family. We just wanted to get as far away from the fire as possible. Everyone was trying to leave, so they couldn't just drive off. It was gridlock at that point.
As the strong winds carried sparks vast distances, 20 miles further south, another wildfire, called the Nuns Fire, was incinerating the famous wine region around Sonoma.
Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, this is a mandatory evacuation order. Leave your homes.
Sergeant Brandon Cutting was on patrol, urgently checking everyone had evacuated their properties.
As I was heading out to Sonoma, I looked off to my right, and I saw the fire on the ridge of the hill, and it was coming over the ridge. I was very nervous. As I see fire and I'm coming into it, I immediately went to, am I driving towards something that bad? We were door to door. I'd park my car and just start running and banging on doors. The wind was howling. Everywhere I turned, I felt like the wind was in my face. It was carrying with it embers of spark, and I realized the fire was out of control.
Shots up us!
I could see a sort of a flash of light, which I assumed was an emergency vehicle. And then I heard him on his radio say, I need help over here. I need help.
Where you at?
I could see he was pulling somebody.
Come on, she's disabled.
As flames closed in, a disabled woman was being dragged across the yard by a patrolman and her husband.
All right, let me get her feet. Her husband's right behind you. There's a house on fire. Let's go. Oh, you gotta get her up.
We got her in the back of the patrol car, and then the other deputy, with the decision that he made at that moment, absolutely 100% saved her life.
Watch your leg. Sir, you gotta go.
It was very scary. And then I had to run back to get my car. I had to take a minute. I had to actually think about what was going on because the fire is all around my car. The fire itself it's overwhelming. The smoke is so bad, I can't tell if we're in a driveway, if we're on the road. I literally almost shut down mentally for a moment, and I had to recheck where I was.
God damn. We're in a bad spot. Ooh.
If I step out of my car, I'm done. There's no way I can get out of my car without catching fire. It is that hot. I also didn't want to stop long enough for my tires to start to feel the heat of the road. That was the time that I was actually the most afraid. I was actually scared at that moment. That fire was moving very fast.
Mark West is nearly impassable at this point.
The entire neighborhood was just ablaze. Neighborhoods that I've known the entire time I've been around Sonoma County are gone.
By now, 4 major blazes were burning up Northern California. 150 miles away in Loma Rica, Mike Vane was helping his friend, Leighton Smith, renovate his property when the Atlas fire rode up on them.
When the fire started, we were outside working, but my roommate ran down the road, smelled smoke. He gets back and he tells me, get your stuff together, we need to get in the car and go. Fire really came on us really fast. 15 minutes, and then the moon blacked out, and then another 5 minutes, and the fire was coming down our driveway. There wasn't no warning, there wasn't no time to, okay, let's pack up all our belongings or anything like that. It was like, grab what you can grab and get out.
We're gonna die, dude. We gotta get out of here.
As we got our dogs in the car and stuff, my roommate looks at me and he hands me his phone. He's telling me start videoing. Scariest part was definitely when we initially started to go out of our driveway. The trees were about 20 feet tall, so there was at least a 30-foot wall of flame coming at us.
Oh my God, dude, we can't. You're gonna have to cut to the left. That's all the gate. Open the gate.
I've never been in a firestorm before. You can definitely feel the air being sucked away.
I can't breathe.
Later, Mike and Leighton's life or death dash takes them right to the brink.
My eyes are burning, man. My eyes are burning too, dude, but we still got oxygen, so we're not dead yet.
And a Santa Rosa resident recklessly heads into the inferno to check on his grandparents' house.
There's no lights on this street. This is called Armageddon.
I felt like my clothes were like hot enough to catch on fire. Contacts were melting to my eyes.
As we've seen, wildfires are merciless, voraciously consuming everything in their path. California is one of the world's most deadly hotspots, as massive blazes are fueled by the strong Santa Ana wind.
Oh, we gotta get out of here. You can feel the heat freezing with that fire.
Near Junction City, these guys were fleeing a forest fire when they heard cries from the undergrowth.
What? Whoa, 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 pull up, someone needs help. Go up. Yo!
If it wasn't for the quick reactions of these two selfless heroes, a mother and her 10-year-old daughter would have met certain doom.
You okay?
This motorist is getting dangerously close to the infamous Fort McMurray wildfire, Canada's biggest weather event in 2016.
Feel the heat here. This is insane. Holy.
With an intense inferno like this, able to reach a metal melting 1,000 degrees Celsius, this is when you really pray not to have a breakdown. Wildfires generally love a combustible cocktail of hot sun, strong winds, and parched vegetation. But the opposite can be true, as proved by this unusual scene in wintry Georgia, US. Heavy snows have brought down a power line, and hundreds of thousands of volts are sparking the most unlikely forest fire.
Oh, cow. Right there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, cow.
It's a frightening spectacle of fire and ice, until someone pulls the plug.
That was crazy.
Having seen up close raging infernos, spare a thought for the brave men and women that regularly put their lives on the line to protect us. Especially this pilot of a firefighting DC-10 who shows ridiculous nerves of steel, scraping treetops to dump his payload of fire retardant. Heroically, he comes through with flying colors. Sturgis in South Dakota, USA. The world's largest motorcycle rally, attracting 500,000 bikers from all over the globe, is revving up. With a heady mix of throbbing V-twin engines, ear-splitting rock, leather, diesel, and rows upon rows of gleaming, customized bikes.
That is fantastic.
But being held in the Midwest during summer, the rally is also prone to violent storms.
Here comes the hail. Oh, yeah. Hail's coming down.
So, when an ominous-looking front rolled in on August the 7th, 2009, bike enthusiast Jeff Koistonen didn't pay it much attention.
I go to the rally about every 2 or 3 years. We had been riding around in Sturgis. We noticed the storm cloud coming. We decided that we probably should head back to the campsite. The clouds, seemed to get darker. We were all just waiting for the storm, thinking that we were going to get a bunch of rain, and all of a sudden, the hail starts coming, and it happened pretty fast.
This is not good.
Had an awning. I was able to put a couple motorcycles on the side of the RV. My friends had a gazebo. They put their motorcycles under that.
Oh my God.
Started with small hail. Very quickly it grew into larger hail.
I've never seen this before. Neither have I. Oh, I think they're getting bigger!
Within minutes, we noticed on the ground there were hail balls the size of tennis balls.
Look at him hit that thing!
If those hit you, you were definitely going to have some kind of injury.
Crap, how long is it going to go on?
You didn't know what was going on.
Oh my gosh! Is it a tornado?
I don't know.
We were pretty scared. It just never let up.
Over in the town center, scores of immaculate, pricey motorcycles were at the mercy of giant hailstones, weighing as much as cricket balls.
We just got off the bikes and Dave got conked in the head with a hailstone that split his head open.
Sturgis regulars Jenny and Greg Stilton were shocked by the sheer ferocity.
I have never seen hail that big before. It was like somebody had a dump truck full of baseballs and were just dumping it all over us. It was horrifying. I was afraid for our lives. When it finally came to a stop, there were really expensive show bikes just absolutely destroyed.
Jay, it busted all my ribbons off.
There was all kinds of damage. There was dents all over them.
Hammered through her leather and got her bike. Both mirrors are gone. FXR.
Your bike is your pride and joy. You put a lot of money and time, and a lot of these guys do the work themselves on them. I can't even imagine what they were thinking, watching that hail hit their motorcycle and really not be able to do anything about it.
The 2009 Sturgis hailstorm lasted for less than half an hour and damaged bikes, cars, and buildings, with losses running into millions of dollars. As for Jenny and Greg, their all-weather RV camper was left in a sorry state.
My camper was just destroyed.
That can't sleep in that tonight. Oh no. Broken windows. Look at how big these hailstones are.
And there were big chunks of ice that were sitting on the floor of my camper. They'd punched through the skylights. My car was also damaged pretty badly, and I looked at it and I just knew that it would be written off.
Look at that. Wow.
Dang. I think everybody that was there had some kind of damage. Walked around my RV and there was quite a few small dings in the fiberglass. When I said to the insurance company that I was in a hailstorm, their first response was it the hailstorm in Sturgis, South Dakota?
Jeez, I cannot believe this.
I think my insurance claim was $18,000. All of my years, I've never seen hailstorm like that. We kept maybe 4 or 5 of the big hail balls, and it was pretty cool to have some pieces of the hail from that storm. Just got to keep it on ice.
Sometimes, when the old Icarus syndrome kicks in and we reckon we can defy gravity, it can all go horribly and painfully wrong. This skydiver looks like he has everything under control on a glorious Californian day. But as he homes in on his touchdown, a sudden wind shear catches him out, causing a crash landing and splashdown, keeping him grounded for quite some time.
I broke my leg.
Paragliding is statistically more dangerous than skydiving, and here's why. In Nepal, this guy is on an instructor ground-to-air training flight when fickle winds put him in a dangerous downward spiral. Despite increasingly frantic instructions to brake, there's no stopping him. This time, water acts as a savior, preventing almost certain death. But the most dangerous of all is base jumping, with an alarming 1 fatality per 60 participants. As this daredevil leaps off Camelback Mountain in Arizona, a crosswind pushes him into the cliff that collapses his chute. If it wasn't for a ledge 50 feet below, breaking his fall, and, as it turns out, both his feet, he'd more than likely add to that damning statistic.
My foot or ankle or heel.
Okay.
This fearless climber in Switzerland is keen to push the envelope by combining an alpine-style rock and ice ascent. Spiked crampons and ice axes help grip this frozen waterfall, but also undermines its integrity. It's all about delicately finding the perfect equilibrium. Thankfully, his ropes come to the rescue. Otherwise, his only climbing would have been into a hospital bed. Staying with the snow and ice, this skier in Utah is happily following tracks in fresh powder. But when the tracks abruptly stop, trouble follows. Despite a free fall of 150 feet, the fresh, soft snow cushions his landing, leading to possibly the understatement of the year.
Thank you.
Still to come, rough seas turn a holiday pleasure cruise into a nightmare.
That boat was probably in the water within a minute. There's people screaming. You're just kind of not sure what's going on.
Jesus!
And a giant twister demolishes a store packed with shoppers.
How are you gonna get away from a tornado? It's coming right for you. You can't get away.
Earlier, we saw how in 2017, a series of raging wildfires were threatening to overwhelm Northern California, putting thousands of lives in critical danger.
Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, this is a mandatory evacuation order. Leave your homes.
In Loma Rica, buddies Mike Vane and Leighton Smith were trying to escape the huge Atlas blaze, speeding towards them at the rate of a football field per minute.
We're gonna die, dude! We gotta get out of here!
The fire was coming so fast, it was actually kicking up embers of coals at me that were probably the size of quarters and nickels. So I was getting pelted by fire, and it was coming at me sideways and stuff like that. And he's yelling at me, "Get back in the car, get back in the car."
I couldn't breathe, dude. You don't think we should just charge? I think it'll be easier on that side. Yeah, we're good. Go.
I've never been in a firestorm before.
My hands were burning going out there. We shouldn't be driving into this gorge. This is the only option, dude. We couldn't have gone back. There was no way of going back. It was gonna blow right through our house. It's gonna be hard to breathe, dude. Dude, the road's on fire.
You know, you could smell smoke everywhere. It just filled the car, even though all the windows and everything was closed. You could barely see over our hood.
I can't see, dude. I can't see the road. They're on the power line right now.
We knew the power lines paralleled our road, so we were just trying to keep the power lines within our sight.
It's tree. Oh, good reaction, good reaction. I can't see the road, but I can't see anything neither.
My eyes are burning, man.
My eyes are burning too, dude, but we still got oxygen, so we're not dead yet.
We're on the road, we're on the road.
Just going through what we had to do to survive, basically.
I know.
There's something right in front of us, right in front of us. There's a gate, let's gate. Push through, dude.
We're out. We're okay. We're okay.
Good job.
Definitely consider myself lucky to be able to get out of there. You hear people say that you can't outrun a fire, and it really rings true when you actually go through the experience yourself.
While Mike and Leighton rejoiced in escaping the inferno by the skin of their teeth, 150 miles away in the suburbs of Santa Rosa, Martin Muchmore was heading straight into it with his uncle.
There's a bulletin saying fire has touched the outskirts of Santa Rosa, so if you're there, evacuate. Hop in my car to see if my grandparents are okay.
Yeah, everything over there has got to be burned down. We're not going to make it that way.
There's a restaurant on fire. There's trees on fire in the road. There's like random debris just like floating in the air.
The embers. Go.
There's a lot of chaos.
Okay, go straight. Try to take the next left. Actually, no, go straight.
We turned the corner and came upon my grandparents' house.
Come on, don't be on fire.
No!
All it is right there is just all flames. We heard things exploding inside the house. So we just hit a U-turn and proceeded to come out the way we came.
Look a bit, go this way, come around. Go back around, come around. Stop. Back up. Back, reverse.
The fires on all the other houses were way worse. Houses on both sides were on fire. It felt like a war zone. It was just horrific.
There's no lights on this street. This is called Armageddon.
I realized I had to roll my windows down because it was too hot. That was the scariest moment. I felt like my clothes were like hot enough to catch on fire. Contacts were melting to my eyes.
Take your time, get us out. But drive, cool, keep going around the gas. Go. Watch out, go straight.
You feel pretty helpless.
We're out of here, everything is gone. It is what it is.
The Tubbs blaze was the most destructive wildfire in California's history. In Santa Rosa, despite the best efforts of the fire service, it incinerated over 3,000 of the town's properties, including Martin's grandparents' house.
Fire just burnt down my whole neighborhood last night. This is my grandparents' house right here. My family's house that just got burnt down. This was the backyard. I broke down a lot off camera, but on camera, I try to hold my composure as much as possible. And just try to share with everyone what it looks like after. Burned to a crisp out here. Look at that, that's one side of the street. It's the other side. Fire trucks everywhere, police, chaos, bro. It'll never be the same. It's gone. It's all just a memory.
The North California wildfires will go down in history for their massive size and destruction. More than 8,000 properties were destroyed, 44 people lost their lives, and the total insured losses stood at over $1 billion. 2 days before the fire, John B. Buencamina had ridden on a nostalgic tour of his Santa Rosa childhood patch. Now he retraced that journey amid total desolation.
You just can't believe it. We were riding our boards around these neighborhoods where we've walked and driven and biked countless times. To be honest, we got lost because we couldn't recognize anything. Everything's gone, everything's leveled, everything's gone to ashes. I don't recognize that place. My brother, he just breaks down because it's overcome by the amount of emotions that were there. And I was kind of speechless. I didn't know really how to react. Something like that, I don't think I'd ever be able to get over.
January 2015, Costa Rica. 21-year-old Alexis Esnaholt was enjoying some winter sun in the Playa Herradura beach resort.
Well, I was in Costa Rica for my Christmas break. There was all sorts of different landscapes. You had the beaches, you had the mountains. It was a very, very beautiful country.
But on the 8th of January, Alexis's dream holiday was about to turn into a nightmare after she signed up for a day excursion to the popular Tortuga Island, a couple of hours offshore.
It was one of those all-inclusive day trips where they had food and drinks. The group on board was pretty diverse. There was quite a few Americans, there was people from Canada, there was people from the UK, people from Costa Rica, obviously. The thing I remember is that it was really, really windy. The first indication that something was going wrong was they started passing out all the life jackets and they said, oh, we're turning the boat around.
Offshore, the wind had whipped up to 45 knots, churning up 6-foot waves. Overwhelmed, their catamaran, the Pura Vida Princess, took on water and started to capsize. In what became harrowing scenes, 3 people tragically lost their lives.
Everything just kind of escalated. And they said, everybody run to this side of the boat. And then from that point, the boat tilts, and then it tilts one more time, and then there's people sliding down the boat. It's just like Titanic, just people just sliding, there's people screaming. You're just kind of not really sure what's going on.
Oh my God.
That boat was probably in the water within a minute. I was holding on to one metal pole. These poles started breaking off. When people were falling into the water, you don't know if they were hitting themselves on something or being cut by something. There was just a lot of different objects that people could have been hit with. I didn't want to get stuck under the blue canopy. That was my biggest concern. And then kind of waited for the water to catch up with me and then swam out the side of the boat. I remember very vividly this mom, when I popped back up, I heard her screaming for her kid. That was kind of the moment where it was, oh wow, this is kind of a crazy situation.
You have both your kids?
Thankfully, all the children were safely reunited, but everyone was in deep shock.
I think there were definitely some very, very scared people. We were about an hour offshore, so the boat sank in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. I remember the little kids that were on the boat, I started talking to one of them about Star Wars or something.
What's your favorite Star Wars character?
I think things along those lines were the best you could do in that kind of a situation to try and help the people around you. One guy that was next to me holding onto the raft, he had this huge gash in his arm and he was bleeding everywhere.
Sir, are you okay? With your arm?
Yeah, I got a bit of a cut on my arm.
A flesh wound.
A flesh wound.
I was going, man, can't help but think that we're in the middle of the ocean, there's probably sharks. That was a little scary and nerve-wracking. Being exposed to the elements is kind of that fight or flight type deal. I'm gonna swim and I'm gonna hold on and do whatever because there's a lot more in store for me in this life. I'm not dying, this is what I need to do to survive.
This horrific boat sinking turned into one of the worst maritime accidents in Costa Rica's recent history. Having spent over an hour stranded in the ocean, a passing freighter and fishing boat rescued the terrified tourists.
I'm forever grateful for that man that pulled me out of the water. I remember getting back to shore and then getting back on dry land and giving that guy a hug and saying, thank you so much. You know, you just saved my life. Right after the incident happened, I probably didn't eat anything at all for about 2 weeks. I couldn't close my eyes without seeing water. I would definitely say that I was traumatized. It was a very, very hard situation, I think, for everybody involved.
Water, it brings life to our world and just as readily takes it away. In Jupiter, Florida, this boat seems safe enough cruising into harbor when a large swell forces its bow to dig into the water and roll over. In a blink, the skipper went from pleasure cruise to fighting for his life. Generally, a drowning person can only struggle in rough water for up to a minute. But fortunately, a passing surfer lends him his board and a passport to safety. Wedding days are meant to be the happiest of your life. But for this couple, it very nearly became the most tragic. Goaded on, the bride takes the plunge in a wedding dress, with disastrous consequences. Despite it being flat calm, the dress has smothered her, leaving her gasping for air. As the groom and guests pile in, it takes an eternity to free her. Proving that even placid water is laced with peril. While humans are susceptible to drowning, you would imagine waterfowl are pretty immune. But this goose's gander is up at these squabbling mallards. And in an astonishing fit of fury, he launches a series of vicious attacks. At one point, clamping this duck's neck in a deliberate attempt to drown it. Just when it looks like the duck's goose is well and truly cooked, his mate comes to the rescue. And after a titanic struggle, prevents a serious case of foul play. Staying with animals. I've heard of dog eat dog, but dog save dog? Now that's plain barking mad. In Cordoba, Argentina, this actually took place. As this black lab plunges down a rapid, his doggy pal, white lab, shows amazing deftness to save his skin. So bizarre, it gives pause for thought. Finally, spare a thought for this fisherman, found drifting alone off the Mexico coast. After his boat had sunk in a storm, his lifeline was this small cooler box. After standing in a crate for 5 long days, having a lie down must be sheer bliss. It's April the 16th, 2011, in the small North Carolina city of Sanford. Kenneth Garrett, the window impresario, was returning from a business meeting when alerts flashed up of a large outbreak of tornadoes.
I had just been on an appointment that day, and there was talk on the news media of approaching storm as I was coming home, and I could feel it. I could really sense something was going to happen. We have a variety of weather, but very seldom will we ever have bad weather, such as tornadoes. I don't think anybody was really prepared for what was coming. It was very cloudy, very gloomy, very humid. It was one of the most tropical days I ever recall. I come home and I just heard a sound. And I just start panicking. I run toward the front of my house. And I just seen debris, trees, everything just going mad. The tornado's coming right at me. My heartbeat was just bouncing. I mean, it was just flowing like mad.
Angel, come here, girl! Come here!
My dog was even panicked, just startled enough. I mean, honestly, it was crazy. I really thought I was going to die. It was just terrifying. Then I come running back into my office when I see the storm going back toward the home improvement warehouse, which is only about 10 minutes away, and I call them just panicking, screaming.
Tornado's there! It's just past my house! The tornado's there! Get in the closet now!
North Carolina was under attack by a multi-tornado outbreak. The Sanford twister that swiped past Kenneth was the biggest, generating winds up to 160 miles per hour. Off-duty cop Keith Fry was traveling to his local home improvement store, unaware the tornado was heading in the same direction.
It was a beautiful day. And when I got in the parking lot, it started to cloud up just a little bit. So I went to the door. That's when it got extremely dark. Then I turned around and lo and behold, I see a tornado. And I thought to myself, it's going north. It just looked like it was going like north. So I was gonna sit there and look at it for a few minutes. But then it started getting closer and closer and closer. People are shopping, and since we're like 3 or 4 of us outside, you know, we were the ones that had to tell everybody, hey, get back to the back, get back to the back. How are you gonna get away from a tornado? It's coming right for you. You can't get away. It sounds like destruction. It just sounds so mean, so nasty. All of a sudden, there was this big whoosh and a boom that came through. And at that point, all the stuff off the shelves just came off. And then it was gone. You hear the people screaming, you hear the alarms going off. When the tornado hit the front, the whole front just absolutely just fell in. So it came about halfway up, and that's when it stopped. It probably another 100 feet, and it would hit us. I went outside. We got all this debris in the roadway. You got sheet metal, you got steel beams, and these steel beams are not small, and they were mangled. The cars in the parking lot were upside down. This tornado had power. Whatever was in its way, it destroyed. It looked like a bomb dropped right in the middle of it.
Keith's actions in herding around 100 shoppers to the back of the store proved crucial for everyone inside surviving. The tornado outbreak in 2011 broke all records for North Carolina, with 30 touching down in a single day. It claimed 24 lives and inflicted over $300 million of damage, a tragedy that will forever be burned in the memory of its inhabitants.
I still have goosebumps when I talk about the storm to this day. It was that frightening. Total devastation. Gave me a new outlook on life and just how quick it can end. I had never witnessed a tornado before, and I never, ever, ever, ever want to witness another one. It scared me to death.
When us humans get snared in the teeth of a gale, the force can blow your mind and body. In Ontario, Canada, strong winds can be a constant menace, especially for this man trying to deliver a sign to a marina, much to the amusement of the sailors. It's one step forwards, a lot of steps backwards.
Watch him fly up.
Determined not to be beaten, he tries brute force. But he's back where he started.
Hold it sideways, yeah?
Having endured such a deflating experience, the sign above the door must be particularly galling. And when it comes to being unnerved by fiendish wind, imagine being caught short in the public toilets by a strong gust and hurtling across the very public Red Square in Moscow. A surefire way of turning a call of nature into a wail of misery. But that's nothing compared to Den Bosch in the Netherlands. This is what happens in a code red storm when winds are blasting at up to 86 miles per hour. People are being tossed around like rag dolls, playthings to the wicked wind gods. As we've seen, when we fight wind's potent power, we come off a distant second best. So why not harness it, like these guys in Miami? Pedaling is optional when you have a hurricane up your backside. Although I wouldn't recommend it, dodging fallen debris at high speed is a one-way ride to a world of pain. In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature bare her teeth.
We're gonna die, dude. We gotta get out of here.
We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more. Because deadly weather stops for no one. The weather. It governs our world, bringing life, death, and destruction.
God damn it, go back.
We're fine.
Oh my God! It's drowning.
Wow. World's deadliest weather is back. Bigger and badder. This time we include deadly natural disasters.
One of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Featuring earth-shattering quakes.
Yo ahí vi pasar toda mi vida. Pero yo pensé que ya no la iba a lograr.
I saw an entire building collapse.
It was like something out of a movie.
And volcanoes.
It looks like all of my wildest dreams.
Using people's extraordinary self-shot footage.
We're gonna die, dude. We gotta get out of here. Mason, get away from the windows now!
And their death-defying stories.
I remember instantly thinking, I just watched her die.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick.
I thought I was gonna burn alive.
We go eyeball to eyeball with Mother Nature.
Crazy! It's crazy! Come on!
And witness up close
Get on there!
the all-consuming power of the elements.
The mountain was coming to get us.
Fly's right there! This place is just hell.
It was just horrific.
I had never in my life experienced anything like that.
Everybody take cover!
Coming up in this episode.
Oh my God!
A lethal mudslide swamps a small Californian community.
Close the door!
There's nothing that I have seen ever like the devastation that happened to Montecito.
This is literally as high as the kitchen counters.
Warehouse workers are sent spinning by a ferocious tornado.
First thing that comes to mind is death. It ripped a building apart.
And we show the world's first sea rescue by a drone.
To see it play out so well in a real life situation where 2 lives were at risk, it was just awesome.
"2017 will always be burned into California's memory as a year of cataclysmic natural disasters. A heat wave shattered all-time high records. Then winds up to 80 miles per hour sparked a series of huge, devastating wildfires, costing 44 lives and $18 billion.
Oh my gosh.
They were on such a massive scale, it took the emergency services, including first responders Lee Chapman and Randy Gilbert, to breaking point.
We had the state's largest wildland fire. The aviation unit was flying multiple aircraft on that fire for 16 days. The fire moved at a rate of spread that I have never seen before, and it burned so quickly and so hot, I've never seen that with my own eyes.
No sooner had California said a heartfelt goodbye to the horrors of 2017 than the legacy of those wildfires began to threaten the coastal community, Montecito.
Montecito was at risk because of the fires that took away all of the root system in those hills. The only thing holding it there was the rocks and the mud. And then when the rains came, it rained very hard for a short period of time. And that caused all of that mud to move. And when that mud started moving, everything that the mud was holding, the rocks and all of the other debris in its way, moved as well.
With the danger of deadly mudslides ever present, Montecito resident Marco Farrell, who lived with his elderly parents, was on constant alert.
I think because we had gone 2 weeks plus of evacuations 2 weeks prior to this event, I think we, as a community, were experiencing evacuation fatigue. It was terrifying knowing all of the rocks and mud and tree trunks that were stored in the hills above us. There was a monster in the hills that was just laying in wait, and it would take rain to wake him up. I had been sandbagging for 3 days. I was exhausted. I had done everything that I could do. Took about a 45-minute nap and was awoken to the hardest driving rain I've ever experienced. All of a sudden, really, really far away, I heard a very loud but distant, low rumble. And it was just one, just a whoa. And I immediately knew what was happening. The mountain was coming to get us.
Ventura 29201, there is a very active mudslide coming down Olive Mill towards the 101 right now.
29 Edward 6, large boulders, mud, and rock.
And I did see a police car speeding down the street.
Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here, go, go, go!
Remember looking into the sheriff's eyes, and what he reflected back was terror. I turned and I started yelling and screaming.
Turn around, the flash flood's right there! The flash flood's right there! Get out of here, go!
It was getting louder and louder. It sounded like a machine just grinding, the most violent grinding of rocks. It's terrifying noise. And you hear people talk about tornadoes and other events, the freight train, it was louder. I mean, it was just undescribable.
Oh my God, Mom! Here comes the flash flood.
What I wasn't expecting was just the sheer volume and violence that these huge logs and boulders and mud had created. It was the most violent thing that I've ever experienced. I ran into my house.
Close the door!
I really thought we were all gonna die. I knew I had seconds to prepare.
Get ready to go out. Wake Dad up! Wake up!
I checked the front door, made sure it was well closed, and I opened up the back door, which ended up being a godsend. And then all of a sudden, slam, the kitchen door slammed open. And this 3 foot, almost 4 foot torrent of mud poured into the kitchen.
Later, trapped, Marco and his elderly parents are helpless as their home rapidly fills with mud and boulders.
This is literally as high as the kitchen counters. There's nothing I can do. I'm sorry, you guys.
And in a nearby community, a man and his girlfriend are taken on a terrifying ride.
And had I not gained control of the vehicle, I'm not really sure if I'd be here today, me or my girl, so.
As we've seen, mudslides are deadly, terrifying, and can strike out of nowhere. Whereas landslides are falls of loose rock and debris, mudslides are saturated soil that flow down mountain channels. In the pretty alpine village of Bondo, Switzerland, everything appears normal. But earlier freak summer downpours have triggered a huge 100-foot wide slide. Nothing can resist its overwhelming force. Even this timber factory is sucked up in a slow-moving conveyor belt of destruction. Mudslides can travel at any speed up to 35 miles per hour. Even this sluggish one in Dezhou, China, is slowly demolishing this village. The reinforced concrete buildings no match to tons of mud, rocks, trees, and gravity. Staying in China, the heavily saturated hillside suddenly gives way, right on these motorists. Fortunately for this carload of people, there were no giant boulders, or else they would have become entombed in their vehicle. Dazed and disorientated, they all escaped their battered car unharmed. But luckiest of all was the pedestrian, who missed being wiped out by seconds. Of course, it's not just humans who fall prey to the sinister mudslide. In coastal Chile, torrential rain has sparked a gigantic slide. Caught up in it is this dog, clinging on to a mound of floating debris. With an angry ocean beckoning, it must find an escape route fast, or risk being swept away. Thankfully, it scampers home in the nick of time. In the Crimea, at first glance, the weather looks sunny and benign. But moments earlier, rainfall had triggered a violent mudslide, turning this mountain pass into a mass automobile graveyard. With rows of cars like fallen dominoes, it shows if Mother Nature wants to play games with us, there's only one winner. October the 23rd, 2017. In Spartanburg, South Carolina, it was another typical Monday morning for Kyle Grote, managing a textile warehouse.
I handle everything from sales to manufacturing. The safety and the well-being of my staff is one of my main responsibilities. I look at my phone every day to see the weather. I knew it was supposed to rain all day, and other than just that, no, I had no idea anything was gonna be bad at all.
But unknown to Kyle, the tropical storm Nate was passing by and sprouting tornadoes.
The wind and everything starts to pick up and swirl. The warehouse guys were at shift change is when this started to happen. So you had guys coming in and you had guys leaving. When the tornado first hit, and my ears popped as if you're landing on a plane. And I couldn't hear anything. It was very fast. It was terrifying because there was nothing I could do. The windows blew out. It hit both sides of our building and missed some of the middle. So you can't even decide, what side's safe or what side isn't safe. The main walls in the shipping and receiving completely blew inward, where there were people standing. First thing that comes to mind is death. It picked up a 10,000-pound forklift and chucked it off to the side like it was no big deal. The water hitting you because the roof is gone, so it's raining in the office. It ripped a building apart.
Kyle's warehouse had been smashed head-on by the biggest of Nate's twisters. Although on the lower end of the tornado scale, it was still generating winds up to 120 miles per hour, and stealthy enough to weather bomb student Jesse Sparveri, who was catnapping in his car.
I saw some leaves and they started spinning. Then all of a sudden I saw a strike of lightning. It struck right next to the car. That's when I started panicking. I thought I was gonna die because the car was shaking. I laid down and kind of wedged myself in between the front seat and the back seat. Everything was shaking. I saw a whole bunch of metal debris flying by the windows. I had no idea if the car was actually in the air. It felt like it was going on and on and on. But in reality, it probably lasted 30 seconds. It was crazy. I honestly did not think I was going to get out of that. So I got out of the car afterwards and all the windows were busted. The only window that wasn't busted was the one that my head was closest to. A good size piece of wood came through and it stabbed right into the driver's side. If I was sitting in the front seat, that would have easily impaled me. There was a tree down directly next to me.
This is insane. Oh my God.
I looked across the road and I saw buildings on fire. There was a truck and those flipped over. We always hear the stories about the different hurricanes, but when you're actually there and you're going through it at that time, it's insane.
Jesse escaped the mayhem remarkably lightly. The Spartanburg tornado triggered 20 vehicle collisions, flattened 10 buildings, and inflicted millions of dollars of commercial damage. Still counting the cost to his ruined textile business is Kyle.
We put all of ourselves into the building, the whole company and everybody that worked there, from sales to the employees. Everybody was part of getting it to the way we wanted it. And it just gone, just disappeared. And to have it taken, yeah, it's a little rough.
One thing that's guaranteed about Mother Nature is she's never predictable. So on World's Deadliest Weather, we're about to delve into the Dali and get surreal. When it rains hard in Wuhan, China, it obviously triggers some truly bizarre behavior. So don't be surprised if you're heading downtown to see a man taking his fish for a walk or paddle. Whatever way you look at it, it's decidedly fishy. Staying with bizarre animal behavior, these scientists working for the Australian Antarctic Division were merrily going about their work when out of the deep blue water, a penguin pays them a visit.
What's going on here, he says?
Not a lot as it happens, so Mr. Penguin plops back in. Topping the lot when it comes to animal oddness is this truly weird scene in icy China. Cows jumping over the moon is a pretty wacky concept. But skating heifers, that's utterly ridiculous. Put animals and humans together, and it gets stranger still. When an ice storm hits an Amish neighborhood in Indiana, USA, the horse and cart boy racers love to show off their drifting skills. Even with 1 horsepower, this guy's able to do some seriously impressive donuts. Finally, in West Suffield, Connecticut, this scene captured after a violent storm has left us permanently scratching our heads.
So we're in a storm right now, and this car literally just drove up this, I don't even know what happened.
There's no rhyme or reason why this car is suspended midair, defying gravity.
This is what's happening right now in Suffield on Mountain Road.
It's Mother Nature gone nuts. Still to come. A novice kayaker gets swallowed up in a wall of white water.
I didn't know what was going on. There's absolutely no fighting that power.
And we see for the first time ever a drone rescuing 2 drowning teenagers.
We're able to locate the swimmers, and pretty much they were 2 dots. These guys were in trouble, they were quite far out.
Earlier, we saw how devastating wildfires followed by torrential rain triggered a lethal, fast-moving mudslide in the small coastal community of Montecito.
The flash flood's right there! Get out of here, go!
Caught in its crosshairs was resident Marco Farrell and his elderly parents.
Here comes the flash flood.
When a tsunami of mud and rock burst into their house.
You guys stay there.
It wasn't like water that just splashes. It was a thick, syrupy, just...
God, I pray for everyone here. This is literally as high as the kitchen counters. There's nothing I could do. I'm sorry, you guys. Everyone stay calm.
I know that panic is the #1 killer in these natural disasters. You have to remain calm because it can save your life.
We literally have a torrent of mud going through the house.
I thought we would be fine, and we weren't. And I thought I had prepared enough, and I hadn't. There was no way to prepare for the sheer scale and violence of this disaster.
It's as tall outside as it is inside.
At about 6 in the morning, I was able to go into the kitchen. Mud was still flowing into the house, but I was able to see that the flow on the street had reduced to just water, and it seemed to be just a few inches high. As soon as we saw the first responders coming around the corner, we knew we were saved.
As Marco breathed a massive sigh of relief that the worst was over, 85 miles away, on the outskirts of Los Angeles, another mudslide was tearing towards Burbank. Straight for startled resident Deon Franklin and his partner.
I was next to my girlfriend and I said, hey, we have to get up and we have to go. And when I looked outside, there was a torrent of water, like a river, in the middle of the street. I'd never seen that before. It was like a movie. And I went outside, we got everything in the car. I was like, hey, we gotta go, go, go.
These Cali mudslides ain't no joke.
And you could see the water coming. It was like, there was no time to think.
Before he could escape, the mudslide picked up Deon's car and hurtled it downhill.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick. I think at the highest point, I was going about 40 miles an hour. From losing control to regaining control, you're looking at about a minute and a half. It was frightening. The car held up exceptionally well. To get out the car, to see there was no damage was absolutely shocking to me. Look how high the water came up. Barely made it out. And had I not gained control of the vehicle, I'm not really sure if I'd be here today, me or my girl, so.
Once the mudslide carnage was over, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff described the scenes as a World War I battlefield. Sifting through for survivors in this apocalyptic wasteland were first responders Lee Chapman and Randy Gilbert.
When I got the call, I came in and we grabbed all our gear, and we knew that there was active rescues right now that were going on, that they needed people to get out of there. Really didn't know what to expect. I knew that there was going to be mud. I knew there was people that needed to be rescued, but I had no idea the extreme nature of the mudslide till we got overhead. It's what we didn't see that was a little bit troubling. Streets, highways, landmarks were no longer there. It was a river of mud that had just flown down from the mountainside through these houses and out towards the Pacific Ocean.
It moved with so much power and strength and speed that it took vehicles and washed them into the ocean.
Hours after the mudslides, people were still trapped in their cars, and Lee and Randy were called to rescue a guy stuck in a pool of deep mud on what used to be the 101 freeway.
We got overhead of the silver sedan. Once I got down to the vehicle, I broke the window out. There was somebody in there. He was just thankful that we were there, and he desperately wanted to get out of that vehicle. This was also done on the top of somebody's mattress that had washed away, and we were kind of floating on water and mud, so we had a very uneasy ground. I did have to move a little bit more purposefully and just make sure that we had a really good footing.
The whole thing probably in total took less than 10 minutes. And you're just nervous because you don't want your friend and your coworker you don't want anything bad to happen to him. There's nothing that I have seen ever like the devastation that happened to Montecito.
I won't ever forget something that you can't forget.
Tragically, 21 people lost their lives and hundreds of homes were destroyed in the Californian mudslides. In the once charming town of Montecito, Marco Farrell was left shell-shocked by his community in ruins.
There are families that have been ripped apart. There are people who are still missing.
Hello? Anybody home? Completely caved in back here, man.
We know 5 of the people that have passed away.
Is the door unlocked? Did you hear anybody inside? Let's go to the next one. Hopefully they're alive.
Entire properties are gone. It absolutely could have been us. Our house was shifted, the walls have been pushed. It would not have taken much more force to have a boulder fly through the wall, a tree trunk to bash through. Still kind of feels like a really bad dream. I don't think that'll ever go away.
In the beautiful Witfontein Nature Reserve in South Africa, the Caimans River has a section of rapids and waterfalls. It's a favorite spot for kayakers willing to test their mettle. And on the 9th of January 2014, Franz Fury did just that, but got way more than he bargained for.
I'm a much keener kayaker in my head than I think I am physically capable of. It's a fairly safe place to go for beginners, so it's a good place to train. It was my brother and I, and two friends. I was very excited and very scared at the same time. Normally the river is very low. It's not really a river, it's just a little stream. The only way that it's possible to really go down these rivers is after a big rain session. It turns it into waterfalls, which is what we were there for.
The big danger with tackling this challenge in and around heavy downpours is these can manifest themselves into flash floods. But after inspecting the river, Franz's brother Eugene and a friend took the plunge, although the raging torrent was pushing them to the limit.
My brother, on the last waterfall, he capsized. As he got down at the bottom, he Eskimo rolled and he was back up. Our friend Dean went next. He went over the first waterfall and capsized and he bailed. So he got out and then it was my turn. I did opt to go in last because I wanted to see what the other people did and how they went for it. I went over the first waterfall. The current pulled me onto the rock. So I went down the waterfall upside down. But I wanted to Eskimo roll. I tried 2-3 times. I couldn't do it because there's so much air in the water from the waterfall. It froths everything up. So there's no buoyancy in that water whatsoever. I didn't want to go down the second and third one upside down. So I bailed. What also happens, especially after a lot of rain, is the foam floats on the water. It's deadly because you can't breathe in it. So I held onto the boat and I grabbed onto the side. And that's when the flash flood happened. Within seconds, the water just came down. Everything just went pitch black, dark. The water there, it shakes you like this the whole time. So it shakes all the air, everything that you can hold, it shakes out. And that was unexpected. I went over the first waterfall. I suddenly became weightless. You don't know what your orientation is. Everywhere else, you hear this thunder the whole time. If you're in the waterfall, it's quiet because there's no resistance. Everything's just quiet. And then suddenly again. I was in the second pool for a couple of seconds and then I went over the large waterfall. Must have hit my head and I bit a hole very deep into my lip. I felt powerless completely. I mean, there's absolutely no fighting that power. When I got to the last waterfall and it didn't spit me out, I started panicking. I couldn't get out because of the turbulence in the water. The turbulence pushed me down.
While Franz was fighting for his life, his brother Eugene could only watch on, helplessly.
I ran down to go look for Franz. I couldn't see him at the bottom. And by this time, the river was raging flood. I looked at it and I was like, there's no way someone can go through there and not die. At that stage, I was starting to consider the fact that I'd be looking for a body and not my brother.
The only reason I got out is because I then went down instead of trying to get up. I kicked through the current and I got out. If I had to be there for 10 seconds longer, I don't know if I would have made it. I grabbed onto a boulder that's in the water and I crawled up onto it and I sat on it. I had no energy left.
Give me a second. I lost my pen. The water's coming big time, eh?
The whole ordeal was just around a minute.
I really have no energy left.
This was the closest that I've been to death. I think my brother had a worse experience than me. He didn't know that I got out safely, and he was panicking like a madman on the side. When I met up with him afterwards, he just broke up in tears and he started sobbing right over me.
I got really angry and really upset and really sad and really happy and all emotions in one.
Despite his harrowing ordeal and being seconds from drowning, Franz has no intention of hanging up his paddle.
The thing about whitewater kayaking is I think it is one of the most beautiful, pure sports out there. But you really need to know what you're doing before you get to certain places, because there's always a chance where you're not going to make it. I just didn't really realize what that meant until I went through that. I haven't experienced a flash flood like that ever. I've never seen one. And mostly people who are in them don't live to tell the tales. Nature does provide us with a lot of experiences, but I do think we should never completely forget who's in control here.
As we've seen, rapids is water at its most furious. And if you don't pay it proper respect, it can be deadly. Rapids are graded from a docile 1 to a severe 6, where chances of survival are slim to none. In Colorado, a whitewater kayaking hotspot in the US, the frothing river is definitely on the upper end of the scale. With water gushing up to 30 miles per hour, a fiberglass canoe has no chance if it hits a submerged rock. As this guy discovers, as his was blown in half.
Literally exploded. I've never seen that happen before.
Did that boat explode?
Swim right, swim right. Yo, grab the paddle. Thanks.
Thankfully, he scrambles to safety, but now faces a long, soggy, and miserable walk home.
Oh my God!
The rubber river raft was invented in the 1840s by Lieutenant John Fremont to survey the Rocky Mountains. His primitive prototype was 4 rubber cloth tubes. Fast forward over 100 years, and this guy has taken a giant step, or should I say several steps forward. Talk about traveling in comfort. No more crashing rapids as you have 6 rubber rafts to cushion any blows. And up high, the panoramic views are sensational. Rubber-dubber-doo. As any self-respecting hippie would say, shortcuts are a terrible idea. And this man in Canada is about to find out the hard and painful way. A bruising blow and dousing in cold water should hopefully knock some sense into him. For some bizarre reason, with a whole forest to choose from, this woman selects an old log to practice yoga. Well, Yoda here would warn her she's likely to feel the force of the raging rapids below. Wanting to be at one with nature, she gets much more than she bargained for. Going from performing the crab to swimming with them. The only injury was to her pride. A fall of a quantum different magnitude is the one this kayaker is psyching himself up for.
Okay.
He's about to launch off a terrifying 128-foot waterfall called Big Banana Falls, named presumably because you would have to be bananas to attempt it. Well, he proves he's a real head case with this death-defying drop. Whatever way you look at this, it's insane. And if you're getting any ideas, best leave it to the professionals. From deliveries to geographical mapping, military applications, and border surveillance, drones are set to revolutionize our world. And now, they can even save lives. As Australian lifeguards Jai Sheridan and Jacob McGoldrick experienced firsthand. They operate on the stunning, yet treacherous, 7 Mile Beach in Lennox Head, New South Wales.
It's called 7 Mile Beach because it's actually 7 miles across, so it is quite a long stretch of coast that we have to patrol. Lennox Head's quite open, so we get a lot of the swell, a lot of the wind. For the tourists and visitors, it is quite dangerous.
Even at the best of times, when you have strong conditions in the ocean, it can be quite hard to get back in for the most strongest swimmer once you're behind that first break.
Beck and I were lucky enough to be a part of a select few to start our training with drones that carry the capability to rescue and send out supplies. The drone can actually go 4,000 metres up and 5 kilometres across. It can get up to about 60 to 80 kilometres per hour.
On the 17th of January 2018, Jai and Jacob were scrambled to put their brand new drone into practice and rescue 2 teenage swimmers on the verge of drowning.
It was a typical day for the weather that we had this time of the year. We had quite rough surf, I think up to 4 metres around the coastlines. We chose to close the beach because it was just too dangerous.
Despite the beaches being closed, the boys were behind the first break, so they were approximately 100 metres offshore. On that day, as well as the big surf, we also had large tides. From the time that we were alerted to the situation, it was probably 2 or 3 minutes before we were able to get there with the rescue pod. And that was our second day flying the large drones, so it was quite new. We were lucky enough that we had been practicing the rescue drops the day before.
I sent the 2 of the lifeguards down there to assess the situation. Jai was getting prepared to go and do another training run for the flight, so he was actually getting ready to launch the UAV when the call came through.
We were able to launch it pretty quickly. So the drone has a camera on the bottom. We get a live feed directly, so we're able to see point of view from the drone. What I was seeing on the screen, we were able to locate the swimmers, and pretty much they were 2 dots. We were able to see that these guys were in trouble and they were quite far out. We were able to get it on top of them, and then we dropped to about 15 metres and we were able to drop the pod quite precisely. Time of takeoff to dropping the pod, it was approximately 70 seconds.
As the pod splashed down, it automatically inflated a buoyancy aid, allowing the boys to swim ashore under their own steam.
By the time they were washing into shore, the lifeguards were able to meet them on the beach and do their standard checks to see if they swallowed water, if they had any other injuries, and assist them in any other way in case they did need further medical assistance. But on this occasion, we were fortunate enough that the boys were okay.
This incredible rescue was the world's first by drone. The Australian government was so impressed, they have committed over $300,000 for further Eastern Australia trials. So don't be surprised if one day you see them at a beach near you.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to actually see it happen in a real life situation. Like, obviously we'd been doing training for this sort of thing, but to see it play out so well in a real life situation where 2 lives were at risk, it was just awesome to see them get back to shore safely.
As we've seen, when the elements are stirred up and angry, they can be deadly. But sometimes we are spared by the closest of margins. On a snowy Mount Baker, US, the fun crowd are out in force, watching the paragliders strut their stuff. But gusty winds is making life a bit tricky. And this girl, going out on a limb clad in just a bikini, is lucky to have them intact after this near miss. Staying in the snow. When they rally in the white stuff, it's best to leave a wide berth. Rule 1, never spectate on the outside of bends, and this shows why. After that butt-clenching scare, the cameraman may need to change his trousers. In neighboring Ukraine, a thunderstorm is rumbling in the town of Kharkov. As ever, the main threat is lightning, but as people scurry to escape the lashing rain, a particularly devious bolt sends this pile of masonry crashing down, missing this couple by millimeters. Over in Argentina, on the Paraná River, a catfish competition is in full swing, alongside the Goya Air Show. Fishing and flying, or should that be fly fishing, proves a volatile mix. As stormy skies create low-level turbulence, this plane is getting a bit close for comfort. But if you thought that was flying low, this one is plain crazy. In St. Petersburg in Florida, the weather looks pleasant enough. But big rollers can be lethal if you're buzzing at high speeds on a jet ski. The impact of this giant jump has knocked this guy out stone cold.
I got you, bro. I got you. I got you.
Incredibly, despite being face down for over 20 seconds, he hasn't swallowed any seawater.
He was knocked unconscious, floating under, face down. Yeah, he's got a bad laceration underneath his chin. Just underneath your chin here. Lucky I was right there, dude. He'd drown. He needs to get checked out by a paramedic, okay?
Although in his present befuddled state, I'm not sure I'd let him take the controls.
Oh my God!
In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature roar with all her might. We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more, because deadly weather stops for no one.